Okay. Would you rather? Um, I've tried to, I have like a little tournament in my mind. So what I'm going to try to do with this is like, maybe we end up with a winner, but I walk you through a series of questions. This is kind of
Okay.
like
All right.
the first round, for the first round matchups,
Okay.
are number, it doesn't matter the seeding, but let's just call it seed 1 versus seed 4 in the first round of the tournament. And then we're going to
Okay.
bring in other seeds to participate later. Okay. Would you rather have or invest in? It's the same thing. So this is like if you had $175 to spend, would you buy a Vlad Jr. 2019 Topps Chrome PSA 10 for $175? And yes, this is about what these cards are going for right now as of the recording of this show. Or a same exact year PSA 10 Topps Chrome Fernando Tatis Jr., basically the same price.
Oh, I was trying to answer it as quick as possible, but I wasn't sure if you were done talking. It's Vlad Jr. all day long for
Okay.
me. All day long, Paul. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it is all day long. And I have a lot of reasons
Okay.
why, but I have a lot of reasons why. But one thing that I really I want our listeners to hear right now, Tatis is still a good investment. Like just because for me it's all day long Vlad Jr. does not mean that I wouldn't take Tatis Jr. over about 95% of other people. So the
Okay.
reason why Vlad Jr. is just an incredible buy for me is, I mean, I don't think there's that many things that are negative about Vlad Jr. I mean, like you can even start with comparing these guys in terms of their fathers. You know, like if you just compare their father's pedigree, Tatis Sr. I just actually bought a Fernando Tatis Sr. card at a card show last week. He was a Ranger. I love Fernando Tatis. I watched him grow up. You know, I watched him growing up. The senior was awesome. Actually, both of these dads have played for my Rangers. Both of them actually. In the 2010 World Series, Vlad Sr. was on the Texas Rangers. But Vlad Sr. is one of my favorite all-time players because he's so cool and unique. He hit balls literally that would hit the ground, and he would golf them in our home run. What a cool guy. Anyway, and there's like this lore of Vlad Sr. that like he lied about his age because he actually didn't know how old he was, and he was actually like 5 or 6 years older than they think he was. So he might have played till he was like 48 years old. Anyway, there's like this whole lore about Vladdy Sr. that's so cool. And then like I watched Vladdy Jr. take batting practice as a Ranger in 2010 when he was like, I don't know, he's like 15. And he's taking batting practice with his dad in the Rangers stadium before the game started. So cool. Anyway, sorry. I was on my soapbox for a second. But the reason why I would invest in Vlad Jr. right now is the injury history. He is definitely going to be able to play for longer. I see Vlad Jr. becoming a Miguel Cabrera type hitter where he is platooned in a lineup and to where like the lineup will protect him more. Also, Vladdy Jr. will be able to play longer than Tatis Jr., I believe, because of the way that he plays, because of the position that he plays, because of his element in the game. It's kind of like, Blake Griffin, for instance, was like the animal for like 5 years. And then, his skills, the longevity of his skills don't play out. Like at their peak, like I think of like Manu Ginobili and Blake Griffin, very different players. And both of them had a very good peak, but one of them was able to do what they do very much longer than the other. Look at Blake Griffin. At his age, Manu Ginobili was still dominating. Blake Griffin is barely getting minutes on a Nets team. And he has games here and there, but like he's supremely relied on his athleticism, and definitely his injury history hurt that later in the game. Tatis has a labrum issue that he's trying to fly all over the field. He's trying to be flashy. He's trying to be the face of baseball, and he is. But I don't think his longevity lasts as long as Vladdy Jr. Now, could they? Yes, Vladdy could definitely, but I see Vladdy being the DH forever and hitting like 600 home runs probably. Like he's going to be an animal, probably a Hall of Famer. Like if he just stays healthy and doesn't get into an HGH scandal, this dude is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like he's an incredible hitter, absolutely is going to win some triple crowns potentially. Like that's a lot to say about a guy. And so for Tatis Jr., I just think that him playing harder than he needs to and potentially hurting himself is going to be what in the end I think will separate the two. So anyway.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown. I love it. I mean, I'm a big fan of both of these guys, and I kind of picked that to see if you kind of agreed with me that maybe both of these cards were good investments right now.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
would
I do
likely
think
go up. Yeah, and I think, and just to be clear, like, this is for people that kind of dabble in all sports. We know that that the Bowman sets are definitely gonna spike higher than the Topps Chrome, but I think they're safer, less risky, less don't have to put as much money to get into these guys, and but guys that are worth getting into, even in if you're dabbling in baseball. So all right, so we have a winner out of the first round, Vlad Jr. So now the other first round matchup here, we have these cards are priced about the same, and I picked them particularly because one is a Bowman Chrome PSA 10 of one player, and the other is a Topps Chrome update base PSA 10 of the other player. So two very, very different sets for two different types of investors. One that would buy the Topps Chrome would be the one that would probably be buying multiple sports. The other, not that the Bowman Chrome wouldn't buy multiple sports, but maybe this person would have been ahead of the game on this. So would you rather have, if you had around $260-ish to spend and you could get either a Wander Franco Bowman Chrome PSA 10 base with that, or a Juan Soto Topps Chrome update base PSA 10 with that, which direction are you going and why?
I think I need more information. So
okay.
which Wander Franco Bowman Chrome is it? Is it the Bowman first?
It would be the Bowman first 2020.
Okay.
Is the one I looked up. So it says first on it, it's the 2020 Bowman Chrome base PSA 10. If I looked that up correctly, it's going for around $250 recently, according to Market Movers app by Sports
Do you
Card
have
Investor.
it up right now?
He's rounding the bases. He looks like he's coming into third base.
Okay, yeah. I was basically going to ask, is it the one that he's running? So, okay, that helps me. So that's the 2019 Wander. And it's not autographed.
Thank you
correct?
for clarifying that. Okay. It's not autographed, no.
Okay. So we've got the base 20 or the Bowman first Chrome. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, it's 2019. I misspoke earlier.
No, that's okay. I actually this is a unique one, Paul, because I at one point I had both of these cards. And I actually just sold one of them. And I have the other one still. So this was kind of unique. I actually had both of these at one point.
Love it. I did not know that before I put this.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like this is a cool topic that you didn't even know about. So this is a tough one, and here's why. Juan Soto's Bowman first card kind of came back when Bowman really wasn't. There's this kind of soft line, and I'm still researching this, and I've been looking into it for a while. Bowman First products became Bowman First products somewhere between 2014-15 and 2018. Somewhere in there, all of a sudden, Bowman was the card you had to have. And so, like, for instance, much earlier than that, like, for instance, I just bought an Elvis Andrus Bowman First Chrome. And that's not something you should go invest in. Statistically, last year he was the worst player in the MLB. So I would argue that maybe it is the time, because there is no way that he's going to be worse than that. He was the statistical worst player. Like, there was not one with the bat counts that were worse than him last year. He was the bottom. But he was one of my favorite players growing up. So that's why I ended up buying the card. But so I bought one of his Bowman first cards, and it was like people are giving them away basically, because it's a Bowman first chrome. And in 2011, Bowman first chrome's cards just weren't popular, and so even now they're really not popular because they didn't really look great, like they're players that. But anyway, somewhere along the line, Bowman first autos became like the card to have. And I'm trying to figure out when that was, and maybe their marketing changed. And at first I thought, well, maybe that's when Bowman got bought by Topps. But then I looked at it and I was vastly wrong when they bought him in like the 8 or the 30s or something like that. So they bought him like forever ago. So that wasn't about it. Anyway, so I think Juan Soto his Bowman card plays into this. So the Topps Chrome update is actually kind of the card to have if you're a Juan Soto guy. Now there's like the Bowman Juan Soto card that's definitely goes for a lot of money. But like if your people are just looking into Juan Soto cards, they're finding this Chrome update card. If people are currently looking into Wander Franco, they're finding that Bowman first card. So it actually is kind of funny how like Juan Soto's Bowman card is actually not as popular as Wander Franco. Wait, Juan Soto's card is not as popular. His Bowman card is not as popular as Wander's. And so, maybe that's because Wander is just now getting into the major leagues, and maybe there's some other things to play there. And I'd love to kind of hash that out with somebody who's been in the hobby deeper than me, which is hard to find kind of, so, but in terms of this matchup, I think, this one is way harder for me than the other. And if you break this down, if you do like a 1 through 4, I would view the Vlad Jr. as a 1, Tatis 4, and then this is a 2 and 3 matchup, which makes it harder, and so,
I guessed on that one.
I think I really, gosh. I think I pick Wander. I think I pick the Franco. And really, right here, the only reason why is it's cheaper. Like I think
it is.
I think that's where it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think they both become staples. I think they both become wildly popular and are good for forever and ever. Like I think Juan Soto could go down as like as good as Mike Trout potentially in the future. Like I think it depends on where he goes to play after his Nationals contract. Like there's a lot contractually speaking where we're not sure where Juan Soto is going to end up. I mean, he denied a really extensive extension to be a National basically for life. And so he's about to probably get the biggest contract of any player ever, and his swing is so effortless and there's literally no holes in his swing. Juan Soto could go down as one of the best baseball players ever. And that's a lot. That's saying a lot. And Wander Franco has like this crazy upside too. Like he could go down as one of the best ever as well. And so that is so hard. But I think the only reason I would take the Wander right now is I think you could benefit off of his Wander mania right now. And so what I would probably do is sell the Wander pretty quickly. Like I would flip it probably around the All-Star break when he makes his first All-Star team. And when he, because he's not a rookie this year, so it's like he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but he's going to be a really solid second-year player. And then I would flip it for a Juan Soto, I think. So the only reason I would do that is I think there's a quick turn opportunity for Wander and for a long-term Soto play.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's great. So we have, and just for clarification, like if you're yelling at us right now while you're listening to this or watching it, we do know that Juan Soto's Topps Chrome update base PSA 10 2018 is the card we're talking about. That goes for about between $270 and $300. And we do know that the Wander Franco 2019 Bowman Chrome PSA 10 actually goes for less than that, between about 200 and 250 right now. So there is, if we take the high end of the one card and the low end of the other card, is essentially what I did, and you only have a $20 difference. So let's say that we now are going to have so basically Kendall's taking the Wando Franco card plus, let's give him $30 or something. So that's what he's choosing. So now in this next round, what we have is the Wander Franco Bowman Chrome PSA 10, and we're going to give it a price of $200. We're going to bring it down because that is the lower end of this card. And we're going to ask Kendall to pick between that card and the 2019 Vlad Jr. Topps Chrome PSA 10, which goes for $175. So you would get $25 plus the Vlad or the Wander. Which one are you taking between those two?
Vlad.
Okay, so you get $25 plus Vlad is what's on the table right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run this Vlad card plus $25 through a gauntlet of sorts. And the first
you're basically going to how valuable it's going to be to me is what you're going to say.
How valuable is this Vlad card to Kendall? Okay. Now there's a couple curveballs coming up here, pardon the pun, but Vlad Jr. Topps Chrome 2019 PSA 10 $175 card plus 25 plus. Now you're going to go up against a Bobby Whit Jr. Pay close attention here, everyone. Bobby Whit Jr. Bowman Paper Prospects base. It's been pulled out of a pack, and it has and he has signed the card in person, and then that card has been authenticated PSA DNA in a PSA DNA slab. No grade on the card. The price on that card is $400. So Kendall either wants that card or he now wants Vlad Jr. $175 card plus $125 cash. Which one are you picking?
And
it's the first Bowman Bobby Whit Jr.
I'd be stupid to not say hey, I'm gaining $200 of equity if I choose the Bobby Whit Jr. here,
But I think these are real life decisions for people. I think if I'm the audience right now, I'm thinking, how much does Kendall value not only a Bobby Whit Jr. card, but kind of an awkward version
Bobby Whit
of a Bobby Whit Jr. card? Yeah.
I think I'd still keep the Vlad in this scenario because strictly because I think the Vlad would not only be easier to move if I had to get out of it. The liquidity aspect would be a really important thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to have to. I'm never going to have to discount it. I'm never going to have to be like, no, this sold for $400, and he's like, well, it's not the real Bobby Whit Jr. And then you're like, okay, whatever, $350, just give me money. I'm never going to have to do that. I'm just going to have to be like, no, this is Vlad Jr. Topps Rookie Chrome PSA 10. Like that, you want it or not, it's going to be $175, and next week it's probably going to be $375. So get it now, and you can say that. I think it's almost like having like a cheaper vintage pair of Jordans versus like a really new expensive pair of Jordans. Like if you had like an $800 pair of Jordans that dropped yesterday, or like a $400 Jordans that were original, I'd still choose the old Jordans because you can combine that with a lot of other things and it's an easier sell point, I think. So with that being said, I'm gonna say Vlad Jr. on this one because the Bobby Whit is weirder, and I think it wouldn't be as easy to get out of if you had to, and probably not as rare.
Okay, so interesting. I didn't know about the not as rare part, but maybe Bobby Whit Jr. is a guy that's out there signing a lot of cards. I mean, minor league guys are pretty easy to get their autograph, right? So you think you get a lot of people are pulling these and then getting them signed in person and shipping them off to PSA for the certification?
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It might just be like a weird thing for me, but I'm kind of like a Debbie Downer on secondhand autos, like not verified by Topps autos, like people that are taking them to a ballpark and signing them. I'm not a real big fan of it. I think it looks, I think it doesn't look as good. And I think, like, I don't know. Like for me, it's like, let the athlete be the athlete when he's supposed to be the athlete. Like he gave his time signing all those autographs in his
Mm-hmm.
house by Topps, like, don't like, don't berate him at the game to sign your card and then flip it for $40 more. Like just not cool, man. Like just enjoy the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel. Sorry for the quick sidebar, but that's the way I feel about these checks that are getting sold or listed at PSA, because like PSA is authenticating checks out of an athlete's checkbook, which I think is like I hate that, and I think that I have the same take on that you do on what you just said about let the athlete be the athlete. But anyway, I digress. So I got this. I got what I wanted out of you there, Kendall, because what I really wanted to know for the audience is like, how legit are these pack opened in person then certified autos as an investment? And I think my takeaway is that anytime you have to explain something to someone or anticipate having to explain it, it's probably not the play that you think it's going to be. So buying the card or sticking with the card that like you could just list it and you're good to go. You don't have to do anything else but list it, is probably going to be the winner. So that's a good segue into the next card. So the Vlad Jr. Topps Chrome PSA 10 for $175 has made it all the way to the final round, and it's going to square off plus $2,200 against a Bobby Witt Jr. Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto PSA 10. That is his Bowman first, which is 2020, correct? I'm going to pull that up, make
Yeah,
sure
it is.
that I am positioning the right
2020
card
is
here.
his Bowman year.
And I just want to clarify, I believe I'm pulling this up on my end. The card that I'm talking about is not serial numbered. There's a serial numbered version of this, and there's just a auto version. And I'm just talking about the auto version.
His base auto is PSA 10 is going for about $2,500. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one. So how much do you believe in Bobby Witt Jr. is really the question. Like, are you going to go with the prospect auto and put the 2,500 into it, or are you going to take the cash plus this Vlad card?
I really don't think this one is close at all. I'm taking Bobby Witt Jr. I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be an incredible major leaguer. I really think his floor is really high. Like he's a really high floor player. And I think there's a lot of prospects that have their Bowman Chrome autos that are way overpriced right now. Peraza, for instance, is one of them right now. People are saying that he could be a Yankees shortstop, but he's really just a defensive shortstop. And I don't think defensive shortstops necessarily hold value long term. Nobody's like, heck yeah, Omar Vizquel, you're not just like really jazzed about a defensive shortstop. But who people are really all about is like shortstops that hit bombs like Tatis, So Bobby Witt is got some really solid batting numbers. He's going to be a major leaguer for a long time. Comes with a pedigree of being, his dad was another major leaguer. Which, speaking of, like, look at this list. We've got some incredible lineage here. I mean, it's all over the MLB right now about
some good
players.
Stock, as
good
she would say.
Stock, yeah.
Good stock.
Like there's just all sorts of good stock all over the Major League Baseball right now, which I think is super fun because I grew up watching these players' dads. And now, like, I'm stuck in this weird in-between age where I'm older than the prospects, but I'm also way younger than their dads. And so, like, it's kind of just fun to see that you've got them here. But actually, what is awesome is all three of these guys' dads were Texas Rangers. Let's go.
There we go, babe.
But
Get
anyway,
pumped. Get pumped for the
let's
Rangers.
go. I actually have all three of these dads' Texas Rangers cards as well. So let's go, Paul.
God,
but anyway,
I did not even plan for that, but I got you hyped today. That's what I like to see.
You literally played into the emotions of all three of these players being Texas Rangers. So all three of these have played in a Texas Rangers dugout at one point. Anyway, so I digress from the Rangers, but Bobby Witt Jr., I believe, is going to be a perennial all-star, a guy that's going to be incredible, fighting for Silver Slugger awards probably his whole career. He's not a guy that's really like, in terms of like flashiness, in terms of like Tatis, you know, he's a guy that's just going to come in every day, grind out the season. I think he's going to be an incredible big leaguer. I think he's going to be a guy who comes up and wants to win every single day. He's not going to have off days. I don't think you're going to see a lot of slumps. You're not going to see like major differences in his game. I think he's going to be very consistent, which is going to help his card value. Like, I want to say that he's going to be a Mike Trout-esque player. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Mike Trout. What I mean by that is he's going to be a very consistent player. You're going to see a lot of the same thing every single day at the ballpark. You're not going to see a Nelson Cruz type career where you're going to go in days and months where he's hitting like 400, and then you're also going to go the next month where he's hitting 200, and that ends up being a 300 hitter. No, you're not going to see that from Bobby Witt. He's going to be the man all the time, every day. He's going to show up to work, and he's just got incredible pedigree. And I think he is an incredible investment, and I wish that I had gotten in sooner on Bobby Witt Jr. because he actually grew up in my neighborhood, and like I've been watching him grow up. I know what high school he played for. He played against my high school. He was younger than me, but like we all knew who Bobby was going to be before he became Bobby Witt Jr. and was drafted first round. Like we all knew he was going to be that guy, even when we were older than him. You know, and so like I believed in him early on, and then same with Jordan Lawler, by the way. He also grew up in my same area, and I'm still high on him, by the way. I think he has the same pedigree. But also, Bobby Witt Jr., incredible. Buy him now because it's going to get more expensive. The only thing that's going to hurt him is injuries, and let's just pray that doesn't happen. So,
all right. So, Kendall, if you and I are out at a 6-person dinner, there's our wives, you and I, and some other, say, woman with her husband are joining us, and let's pretend that we're all friends. But that dude doesn't know anything about sports cards, but he's like into some alternative investments, and he's like kind of followed sports throughout his life. And generally he's a cool guy, but like not as cool as us because he doesn't know anything about sports cards. And he says to us, guys, I just want to make a play in this sports card thing, and I've got like $5,000 that I want to throw around. And you and I, our eyes light up, and we're like, ooh, who should we tell this guy to buy? You're saying, what you're saying right now is he should buy at least one, maybe two of this card. Yes or no?
I think that's a very safe bet.
Nice. Love it. Love it. All right. Do you have enough time for me to do the other last couple segments? You got like maybe 10 or 15
I am
more minutes?
completely chilling, dude. Let's go, you know.
Yes. And or join the Facebook group at sportscardstrategy.com. We are brought to you by Market Movers app by Sports Card Investor. If you really, really like the show and you want to get access to the best place to track the data of your entire collection, go to marketmoversapp.com and use the promo code NOOFFSEASON to not only save 20% on your fees, but also help give the show a little bit of funding. And check out the Sports Card Investment Report. Let me know what you think. All you have to do is go to nooffseason.com. And if you do upgrade for the $20 a month package, you will get all of the rankings 1 to 100. You will get the full reports as well as the play for each card. So I'd love for you guys to check that out.
Love it.
Kendall and I will be back. We need to get T to share this episode because we talked about him way too much. I want to send you guys some more cards for wild cards. It's good stock. We need to send more cards from no offseason to wild cards, so you can either rip them or just insert singles into packages that you send out to people. Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon, Kendall. Thanks as always for being on, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I loved every second of it.
Same here. Everybody have a great day.